this lonesome old town. Set him up, we'll be knocking him down. I grew up listening to Albert King, was always a little funky, more funkier than the other blues artists. You know, Albert Collins got that guitar thing, Telecaster going, talk, then B.B. King, you know, that's a certain style. I like to touch different styles of blues, and I have an excuse for it because I'm not born in Chicago, I'm not born in Texas, I'm born in Europe, in Serbia, so I can do on every record whatever I'm interested in, but I love all shades of blues equally. I can't say I'm a fan. I mean, I love Buddy Guy, and I love Howlin Wolf, and I love Elmore James, and I love, you know, Freddie King, and so Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix. I love rock blues, Texas blues, funk blues, soul blues, jazz blues, and I do it a little bit on every record.
That remembers me of an album from 2015 called Blue Room.
Yes.
So I know, because the question is how much your father, which obviously meant a lot to go on the musical path, give you or inspired you in the direction of going through the
well, a lot, because that was his first choice. Was his records that I started listening when I was 3 or 4 years old. So that's something that's really deep inside me as a child, and I loved Robert Johnson at that time. I could listen to Howlin Wolf being 4 or 5 years old. He would get us around the guitar, and we would sing, whatever blues songs, Koko Taylor, Ioan James. As kids, you know, those are some that we never listened to any Serbian music at home. It was only blues and mostly American blues from a very early age.
And then you took your dad's guitar.
Yes, yeah. When I was about 13, I started playing guitar, so pretty late. And by the time I was 18, I started playing some solos. So pretty late, formed the band.
But it was your choice to go to study graphic design?
Yes. I never thought I would be a professional musician, to be honest with you, because I was in Belgrade, you know, so I met a Buddy Guy when I was 13 in Belgrade. He signed my backstage pass, but to think that I will be sharing stage with him is beyond dreams. So I always wanted to have a B part, a B solution, and a B plan B, and that was graphic design, and I love art. And I still think that life is too short to be just interested in one field. For me now is music, but I don't know if it's going to be always music, because I'm very interested in design, in architecture, in interior design, and you know, there's just so many good things you can be busy with, you know. But music is my passion. That's my number one, obviously, my work.
You made an extremely ambitious trilogy.
Yes.
And how, if you can give us some details about the creative process, how do you create art, music as a form of art? How do you work it? How you're inspired, and how do you an idea gets into melody?
Well, trilogy has been my idea for a long time, and I thought that before people stop buying CDs completely, I should get this package of 3 CDs that roll out, and you have a booklet, and there is 30 more musicians on it. I handpick every musician. I handpick every producer to give me the specific sound. So the Midnight is a jazz record, Midday is a rock and blues record, Tom Hambridge produced it, and the Morning is a funk and soul record. So it was something that was in my mind for about 3 years before I crystallized which song is going to be on which, what drummer is going to be on which, to give me, you know, all these drummers or bass players I choose, they can play anything, but they can play only one thing really good. So which drummer for the jazz, which drummer for the funk, which drummer, you know, which horn section. So at that time I was living in Memphis, and it was inspirational to live there, because you're 6 hours from New Orleans, where you got the greatest horn sections and greatest drummers. Then you're 3 hours from Nashville, where you get great background singers and a very good studio situation, songwriters. And then you're in Memphis for the great rhythm section, the groove, the soul, Albert King. They still play like back in the day. So I gave myself freedom, and I wrote 23 songs. And it was I'm very proud of that project.
And again, to like it on top, because I think it's also a statement from the woman point of view.
Yes.
What do you want to basically to the message to the other women from the audience?
Yeah, for sure. If you are a career woman, on the first place you gotta choose the right husband, because if not, the society is built that way that without the support of your partner, of your family, or your brothers, or your co-workers, it's very hard. So I was just thinking, I'm a woman that does a male job, which used to be considered a male job, guitar playing. There's only a handful. So how it is for somebody who is on top of like a huge corporation and having so many people employed. I have a lot of employees, but let's say hundreds of thousands of employees, and you still have kids at home, you still have a husband, and you still have a society that wants you to look certain way, to act certain way, So now those roles are shifting nowadays. Suddenly, at least in Western Europe and in America, it's okay to have a husband at home, and wife goes and makes living. Those things it's suddenly okay. If you're a husband at home and you go do the wash and take care of the kids and you do the grocery and you cook, we have to embrace that, and I think it should be a fair chance for women that, what the actors are talking nowadays, fair, equal pay, so that you have a chance to discuss that with your husband. Is she gonna go or is he gonna go? And if man keeps earning twice as much, then we don't have that conversation. However, I think Like It on Top is really also, dedicated to anybody, regardless, male or female, who feels like he's on top of his craft and wanna reach that top of his, whatever it is that you're doing. You wanna be, you really wanna feel it as a passion, and you wanna keep pushing until you're satisfied with your presentation. So, yeah. It's a lot of different subjects on the record, but everything from domestic violence and trying to escape the violence, to feeling empowered as a woman, choosing the right work for yourself, choosing the right partner. There's different subjects, 10 different subjects on that.
So Memphis, Nashville, New Orleans, and you choose to relocate again to Los Angeles.
Yes, I relocated 3 years ago, and that's my, final destination.
You left the roots source.
I did, and I always wanted to go to the West Coast. For me, I love beauty, and I love big cities, first of all. I come from Belgrade, so Amsterdam was small for me. Of course, Memphis, yeah. So I love West Coast, and I love the weather. I love national parks. I love the beauty. I love the architecture, and I really enjoy there. It's a urban, all the musicians, just the best, very contemporary. But I was planning to stay only a year in Memphis, but it turned to 3 years, and we had a wonderful time, really. I wanted to explore the South, and I wanted to explore the music meccas, Nashville, New Orleans, Memphis, and it was wonderful.
I remember something about Like It on Top, about the women and men. Basically, most of the musicians you're cooperating on the album are men.
Yes.
Kev Moon, Wayne Shepherd, and Robin Ford.
Yes, exactly. And I think we need the men in order to be successful, because without them giving us a chance, we won't succeed.
So how do you persuade them to work on the album, which will be perceived as a women's statement?
Kev Mo and me, he came over to my home, and we spent a week at my home writing. So we came up with that concept, and I came up with it, and he liked it. He's got a very strong woman at home. She's his manager, and he's very supportive of women, So we kind of worked on that thematic for a week at my home, and then I went to his home and we recorded it in Nashville. But I'm lucky that these people wanna pick up my phone call, and they wanna come and work in the studio. We had Joe Bonamassa on the Trilogy. We had Robert Randall for Trilogy. Bernard Purdy, the most recorded drummer in the history, of course. Many people, and Sonny Landry, my famous his favorite slide player. So it's just nice. Robin Ford, of course. I started with Robin. I mean, I was a huge fan of Robin Ford.
When you were a student in the Milosevic regime, do you ever dreamt of, I don't know, that this type of musicians will return your calls?
I was dreaming about it. Yeah, it was a dream, absolutely. And
you are a rebel student or a good student?
I'm what?
A rebel student or a good student?
At school? In school?
Yeah, in Belgrade.
I wasn't the best. No, yeah, I started great, and then high school I was too much into music. It was very important for me.
So to close the last question, because not to spare some time for yourself after the concert, you were nominated many times in your career and the awards, the recognition of your talent both as songwriter and guitar player. So basically now you're an accomplished musician, blues musician. How important eventually are the awards for you?
Well, I think it used to be, it was very important in the beginning, absolutely, because it helps, especially somebody who comes from Eastern Europe. I was the first continental European artist ever nominated for the American Blues Award, and that meant a lot to me. You know, it was wonderful to have their support. Nowadays, I'm also not a roots blues musician anymore. You know, I'm not. I never really was. So I really want to develop as Anna Popovic, whatever it is. Maybe it's blues, maybe it's blues influence. But in the beginning, certainly helped a lot. But I don't make records. I don't make records for journalists. I don't make records for nominations. I make records for myself. You know, I'm my biggest critic. So I know if something is good before it even went out. I know what kind of a record I'm making, and I'm just shooting that I'm satisfied. And I know that people that heard me for 20 years, you know, I want them to have a reason to go and buy my record. You know, because I don't want to recycle. I don't want to do stuff I already done. So it needs to be for them really a reason to go buy a ticket, because they know the band's going to sound better than last year. That's what they all said. We saw you last year. How is it possible? You guys sound even better. Yeah, because that's our main thing. We want you, to be satisfied. You come in, you can be anywhere tonight, but you come in to spend time with you, and we're not going to give you the same show as last year.